I think that Octopus might have just changed the game. I've done a few videos about Octopus over the last few years. I'm not hesitant in saying that I'm a fanboy. I'm really impressed by their vision, by the way that they're trying to accelerate the low carbon transition with the products that they come up with that help with that transition, that help make low carbon technology cheaper, and that really drive things forward in response to climate change. Things like, whether it's a novel smart tariff like Octopus Agile, or tariffs that help EV owners charge more cheaply, or tariffs to help heat pump or electric heating owners heat more cheaply, or to let solar panels, solar PV and battery owners take advantage of how wholesale costs vary day to day, hour to hour, or the way that they're trying to make heat pump installations more cost effective. Their Zero Bills Home project, even buying a heat pump manufacturer and releasing their own, I guess, fairly funny looking heat pump. There's a lot that they've done that, in my view, has really helped accelerate the low carbon transition. And I think this is a company that we can celebrate today, and we will celebrate in a few years' time for their impact. But the announcement this week at their Energy Tech Summit, I think, could be the first, if not the next step, in something much more significant than many of the products or projects so far. I kind of wish I'd been there to hear this announcement. Instead, as with many things in 2025, I was scrolling through social media too late at night and spotted a news story. Octopus and BYD launched UK's first V2G bundle. So what is V2G? What does that mean for drivers? What does it mean for homes? And what could it mean for the grid? And why am I so excited about an energy and a car company launching a product? Let me explain. So V2G means vehicle to grid. This is something that has been discussed and trialed over the last few years. And the idea is this, that most cars are parked up for most of the time. If they're plugged in when they're parked up and connected to a smart charger, they can charge when best suits the grid, avoiding the peaks of demand, which tend to be the dirtiest and most expensive types of generation, and therefore filling up cleanly and cheaply. This kind of charging is now pretty common, and if you have a smart charger, you're probably pretty likely to be on a tariff like Octopus Intelligent Go that will be taking advantage of that kind of charging and charging at different times of the day every day. Where vehicle to grid comes in is to reverse that process. Uses the car battery to supply the home or the grid with energy to avoid using power at all at the peaks, to charge in the troughs and to use a bit of battery capacity at those peaks. This potentially substantially reduces costs at the home or wherever the car is connected, and it potentially reduces reliance on the dirtiest of generators on the grid. I guess this is the same story with stationary home batteries, buying low, using or selling high. But with an electric vehicle, the battery capacity is multiple times higher than even the biggest domestic battery. This BYD that they're talking about in this announcement comes with a couple of different battery sizes, and the announcement this week doesn't mention which is included in their offer, but even the smallest BYD Dolphin battery at just under 45 kilowatt hours would be the equivalent storage of more than 3 Tesla Powerwalls. So this proposal from Octopus will help drive forward V2G technology and its uptake, and it will facilitate low-cost electric vehicle ownership for many more people. And I suspect will make some profit for Octopus due to the grid services that they'll be able to provide with all this storage capacity. And my understanding is that this proposal won't necessarily help make powering your home cheaper, but it's potentially the first step to using a car battery parked outside as a home battery to power the home. Because if we're able to roll out V2G technology more broadly, the potential is massive. What do I mean by that? Well, there are currently 1.5 million EVs on the road today in the UK. Not all of them can use V2G technology, but going forward, many more will be able to. And if we assume that eventually most EVs could use a V2G charger, then you start to see the impact of this kind of proposal. So even today, with 1.5 million cars, with a battery capacity each, let's be conservative, of 30 kilowatt hours, That means a potential storage capacity of 45 gigawatt hours, or enough storage to power over 15,000 average UK homes for a whole year. That kind of yearly storage isn't really what we're saying will happen, but V2G chargers and cars would facilitate taking advantage of variable generation to minimise wind curtailment and therefore minimise fossil gas generators, minimise costs for electricity, and minimise emissions on an hour by hour or a day by day basis. And the reality is that, like a domestic battery today, the car's battery could discharge part of its capacity for a couple of hours to avoid costly electricity and then charge overnight or at low rates during the day. And it would be programmable so that you would have the required range for when you needed it and so that you had the minimum range at all times. And so if we assumed that the charger was able to deliver 7 kilowatts of power at any moment from the battery to the home and the grid, and if we had 1.5 million of these able to act simultaneously, that's 10.5 gigawatts of power available to serve the grid. The total power available from battery storage in 2024 was 4.5 gigawatts. So utilising EV batteries could more than double that. By 2030, the Clean Power Plan is hoping that we would have at least 23 gigawatts of power available from battery storage on the grid. Cars parked up outside homes could be part of that solution. Whether BYD Dolphins with an onboard V2G charger, or other cars with onboard V2G chargers, or with a dedicated V2G charger installed at home that could connect to other cars, we start to see part of the solution to variable renewable generation, or actually even variable demand in our current setting on a day-to-day basis. For households and for Octopus, the car parked on a drive or in a garage or on a street using a turbocharge or gully would be working and earning its keep. That's why Octopus is saying that you could have the equivalent of 7,500 miles of charging for free. It would be using the car's battery to pay for that charging and to reduce its own costs. So this proposal from Octopus is allowing you to lease a small car with over 200 miles of range, giving you a charger installed and giving you that 7,500 miles of range, all for £300 a month. That's lower than many lease deals available. And I should say that the BYD Dolphin is nice, but it's a small car. It's one of the cheaper EVs available today. But this concept is the first of its kind in trying to facilitate vehicle to grid. And I'm sure that there will be other examples going forward and other cars available to take this forward in the future. So I got really excited seeing this plan. What I'd like to see next is a wider range of cars that could facilitate this kind of charging, and actually more flexibility on using the benefits of vehicle to grid technology. Ultimately, Octopus will be using the battery in the car that they own to provide grid services through your home. And all that's fantastic. But if vehicle to grid technology was available through a car that you owned outright, or through a wall mounted charger that you own, then this could be much more beneficial to a household. Fill up the car at low rates. Use the car to power a heat pump or to power your cooking or all your electricity use at home, whilst the electricity is costly, and save a bunch of money in the process. If we can have a broader vehicle to grid rollout, this really changes the game. So this announcement is the first step in a longer story that would see parked cars used to help support the energy transition. And I am here for it. Next, I want to have a V2G charger that I could plug my Nissan Leaf into to do something similar even without the lease. We shall see. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you want to support me in making more videos like this, I would love it if you look at the membership part of this page. It would really encourage me to see more people join as members.